Thousand times I failed, still your mercy remains. And should I stumble again, still I'm caught.
Have you ever been out walking and you've seen a tree where it's still got green leaves on one side, it's got very healthy branches, but on the other side, or maybe it's just a branch or two, it's got dead leaves, or it's brown and it's brittle. Or maybe you've seen a tree that hasn't been kept up, no one's taken time to cut off any extra branches or branches that are growing in odd directions. If you've ever done any gardening, you know that you have to keep up a plant. You have to prune or cut away branches every now and then. You cut away the dead ones, or you even remove some. For if it's a fruit plant, you remove certain branches so that nutrients can go to the fruit instead of the extra branches, and so you remove those branches. In John chapters 13 through 17, Jesus is spending his final day with his disciples. He knows that soon he'll be arrested, he'll be tried, and eventually crucified on the cross. And so he's spending this last day with his disciples. And in John 15, he says, "I am the vine, and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I remain in you, then you will produce much fruit. But apart from me, you can do nothing." Jesus uses this image of a vine and branches because it's one that would have been quite common for the disciples. You see, at the time, the Jews are a very agricultural people. They would have seen vines and vineyards on a regular basis, and this is an image that they would be quite familiar with. And so Jesus uses this to bring home this teaching of a vine and branches and the connection they have with one another. You see, the vine has the responsibility of taking water and nutrients from the soil and delivering it to the branches, taking it to the branches, and then the branches are connected to the vine. They then have the responsibility of using that water and nutrients to produce the specific fruit for that plant. Here, Jesus is using this image of a vine and branches to talk about our connection to Him. He is the vine, and then we are the branches connected to Christ. We have this responsibility to not only be connected, but also this responsibility to produce fruit. And you see, a caretaker, much like a caretaker for a vineyard like this one, they're not going to plant the vines and then just let them grow and never come back to them. Instead, they're going to come back to that vine, come back to that plant on a regular basis, and they'll look for any branches that might be dead. For they're going to remove those dead branches or any branches that aren't producing fruit because they're really just wasting nutrients. They're pulling nutrients from another branch that could produce fruit. And so it'll cut off the worthless or useless branches. But then the caretaker is also going to go to the branches that are producing fruit, and he's going to prune them as well. He's going to cut them back. For he's going to trim them down so that way the nutrients aren't going to the leaves or other parts, but instead nutrients can solely go to the fruit. You see, the caretaker has to choose between having green, leafy vines or plump, juicy grapes. And it's the same for us as well. We have to be connected to Christ. We have to produce fruit, and we have to be willing to be pruned every now and then so that we can produce greater and better fruit.
Rise up from the inside.